I love my brother and we've always been close. There is so much to this story, but we'll try and keep it short. 3 years ago his wife left him and he had a nervous breakdown. His life has continued to spiral. He met a woman a few months after his wife left, let's call her Betty. For the past few years, they have been on again off again in a very toxic relationship. I believe they're as bad as one another with how they treat each other. They are also two very unstable and mentally unwell people. Whole other story. Back in May 2022, I unintentionally revealed him cheating on Betty with another woman. Not just one night stand, but actively dating them both. The blow-up was disastrous. Cops were involved. We thought it would finally be over with him and Betty, but he continued to obsess in her, and they both remained in contact. A few months later, he is now dating a girl, let's call her Susan. She is 10 years younger than him with 2 ex-daughters. My brother is very much a pathological liar and has a habit of love-bombing women on top of pretending to be everything he's not. Anyway, I haven't met this girl as it's only been I think 10 weeks that they started dating, despite my brother harassing the family constantly to meet her. We're apprehensive due to the drama that is his love life and not wanting to get caught up in his lies and mess. The previous cheating scandal had left us traumatized. By all accounts on Facebook, my brother is playing the part of being loved up. 2 weeks ago roughly he told me she was pregnant. I was devastated for many reasons, but mostly due to his mental health and his financial state. My parents have recently bought a house so that he and his 2 boys, he has custody only 4 nights a fortnight, can move in with him as he just doesn't work full-time, owns his own business, so doesn't bring in enough to support himself. Plus, he chooses to spend his money on women rather than his bills or massive amount of debts. Fortunately she miscarried. However, the day she was miscarrying, Betty contacted my sister and revealed that my brother had been contacting her the whole time he was with Susan, begging Betty back. Even stooping so low as to send Betty photos of him and Susan in bed together in an attempt to make Betty jealous. On the day that Susan was miscarrying, my brother was telling Betty he was no longer with her and that he would wait for her forever. It's likely but unclear, we don't have the best relations with Betty, as to whether they have been dating the last 10 weeks. We confronted my brother. Told him he must come clean to Susan, but he has refused and declared that he simply had a weak moment, every day for 10 weeks, and that Susan is the love of his life. I should state here that my brother has a very unhealthy relationship with love. He thinks he's madly in love with anyone that pays him attention. Every girlfriend is the love of his life. I should also state that just in the last year alone he was engaged to Betty, I think 3 times, 3 different expensive engagement rings that he put on debt. Plus, he got Betty pregnant about 6 months ago, but miscarried. In between all that there were 2 other significant relationships with 2 other women. Crossing over each other. Yes, my brother has a long history of cheating. We're a few days out from finding out about this. My brother is acting completely normal. Putting super loving messages up on Facebook about Susan. Continuing, despite our pleas not to, develop a relationship with his 2 young boys with Susan. Gauging my brother's mental state and his obsessive behavior towards Betty, we do not believe he will stop contacting or trying to resume his relationship with Betty. Our biggest concern, and we know him so very well, is that both him and Susan are now going to try for another baby. An innocent child that's going to be brought into a very messy situation. I am so torn. Do I contact Susan and tell her what's going on? If I do, it's very likely my brother will fall into another episode and attempt suicide again. He does not take rejection well. I could not live with myself if he carried through with one of his attempts as an outcome of me breaking him and Susan up. But I'm scared if I don't, then a child will be brought into this, and that Susan will be deceived into having a child with a man that doesn't exist and is a narcissistic liar. I haven't painted my brother in the best of light. Behind the lies and the selfish behavior is a very mentally unstable human who is desperately seeking security and self-worth. There's a lot about my brother that is awesome. Unfortunately, it's been a while since that awesome human has been present.
Let us check the comments section.
Your brother needs professional psychiatric help. He has low self-worth, abandonment issues, and insecurities. Sometimes this would make him borderline psychotic and controlling. He needs to be under psychiatric care. He shouldn't be around any women. Susan needs to know about Betty's situation, that he contacted her during Susan's miscarriage. No way he should father a child in his current state. A lot of lives are on stake. Call the cops if your brother tries self-harming.
He was admitted into care after one suicide attempt after divorce. About 3 years ago. He now refuses to take medication and refuses to see a psychologist. We have tried everything possible to try to get him help, but there's nothing we can do if he refuses. It's an absolute train wreck waiting to happen. Even if Susan finds out the truth, he'll find another woman very quickly. Drama on repeat. We are at such a loss as to what to do. Nothing worse than someone you love and are closest to being a bad person. If you do the RGHT thing, you've betrayed your own blood and thing may never mend. If you do nothing, you feel bad and he becomes a worse person because of it. I have a couple people in my family that I went through this with.